You're listening to Creatively Geeky, the support group for your creative process.
Welcome to the Creatively Geeky Show. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight I'm joined by Kris and Ray. How are y'all doing?
We are okay.
I'm breathing, and
we're here.
We're there.
We're here.
You know, some days that's enough, right?
Got out of bed. That's enough.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you get bonus points. I made the bed, so you know. This is our check-in episode where we check in to see what all we've gotten accomplished since the last one. So that we have to, remember it's been 2 months since the last time we've done this. So, I wouldn't, I just kind of looking at some of my stuff. I'm like, yeah, maybe, but I got other stuff done. So there we go. So with that being said, who'd like to go first? I mean, Ray, you traditionally say you want to go first. You want to go first? Or are you passing tonight?
I'll pass.
Passing tonight.
I'll go first.
Kris is going to go first. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So you had 3 things on your to-do list from last time.
Okay.
Finish a blanket. Get more story done, which I already know a little bit about that, and gardening.
Okay. I didn't actually do too bad. So I'm
Garden.
No, I think I know what I meant by that.
Okay.
So I got 99% of that blanket done. I just have to do a little detail. But if I didn't do that detail, technically it's all finished.
Nice.
This is just for funsies, that a little color. It's for my niece. And then where'd you put it? Oh, it's right here.
You do that. I'm gonna go.
This is my finished first draft.
Woohoo!
So now I'm starting to edit it, which
not your favorite part of the process?
Well, no, this is the word I don't like because it feels repetitive. So I'm trying something new where I had read somewhere that this writer, he's like, this is how he does edits. He's like, you write the first draft, then when you go to edit it, you put the first draft up beside it and you type it word for word. And what winds up happening is you wind up creating and adding on to that and it becomes better. So
that's an interesting way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try that. Because my way of editing was just to keep reading it over and over and over and over again and just adding little things here and there. So it's like, that's the tedium that I don't enjoy. So I did. I printed it all out. It was 81 pages front and back.
Nice.
And it's like almost 35,000 words. And so, which is
almost a regular book.
Well,
no,
like a novella is between 15,000 and 50,000.
Yeah.
And then an actual novel is like 70,000 to I think 150,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
And then past that, you're just getting into stupid Dune territory. So my hope is to get to the novel word count. So yeah, it's interesting. Since then too, I also drew a map. There's this trick going around on Bookgram where to make a fictional map, all you do is you lay a piece of paper out and then just pour rice on the paper and kind of move it around a little bit and then draw the outline that the rice is left. And then you can remove the rice. And then you have this really cool, kind of authentic looking piece of land.
That's a cool idea. Yeah.
So I did that because I'm a very visual person and I'm talking about different locations and I kind of needed to have a visual where I know where they are in my head, but it's nice to see it. It's less mental work I have to do. So I did that, I spent a whole afternoon doing that. Ray's like, what'd you do? And I'm like, I made a map. And I wrote little like sticky notes all over it for like land references, like what the topography's like, landscape, vegetation, population, that kind of thing. So I had a lot of fun with that.
Well, yeah, it sounds like that'd be fun.
Yeah, it was lots of fun because the rice thing actually freaking worked. That was the cool part. Is I was really shocked because I can't draw like at all. I suck at drawing. Like stick people. That's kind of it. That's I have nice handwriting. That's all I have. And then for the gardening, so what I've done is because we have this really weird 2 really weird skinny patches of lawn that weren't doing anything.
Mhm.
They weren't usable because a garden was right next to it, and then a garden path was on the other side, so you can't walk on it or anything like that. So I'm like, I'm going to turn those I'm going to make the garden bigger. So I did. Quinn helped me. Did Quinn help me? No, that part I did by myself. He's helping me weed it. And I bought some lavender, which is my favorite plant ever. And I have to move a plant because one plant was overtaking it, which is fine. And yeah, so now those are done, but now it's the upkeep of the lawn. That's the remnants of the lawn that's trying to peep through, and dandelions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to plant one more shrub, but that was it. That's a last minute add on. I tried to put flowers there that Ray bought me, but I killed them. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to put a shrub there.
That works.
Yeah. So I did good. This is like the best one yet.
Yeah, it sounds like you did fantastic. I was going to ask, is there anything else because my thing is always going back through it, being like, well, I didn't get this done, but maybe I got this other thing done. So was there anything else?
I'm just trying to think. The story's been taking up a lot of time.
As well it should.
Yeah, because it takes time to write things. No, not for me.
No, just kind of talking about plans and stuff.
Just plans for the house, like little, nothing, no big projects. No big projects.
Right.
Or put those on hold for a bit.
No, this is just little bits and bobs, but those aren't really projects.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Although you should show the radio that you got.
I'll go get it. What are you talking about?
What radio?
You'll see in a minute.
Okay. Which, by the way, so for anyone, the majority of the people who watch or listen to all of our shows do so on do so as an audio podcast. Grossly more people that way than other, but it is possible to see the show on YouTube. We do have a video version of it, and since we've moved to StreamYard, I think it looks much better because it's not cutting off half of the Canadians' faces. So you can actually see their beautiful faces when we're talking. So instead of half of Kris
just
and
half of Ray, because it keeps moving over. Okay. So I wanted
somebody went on a shopping spree a little bit.
Well, you said it's for the house.
I did say yes.
I had fun with it.
It was decorating for the house.
Yes, okay. That is a hobby of mine. I do enjoy decorating.
Mm-hmm.
It's very pleasing for my brain to organize spaces and to decorate them. And since I am fully in my gremlin witch forest nymph era, I would like my space to reflect that. So anyways, for the kitchen, I wanted a little Bluetooth speaker, and I'm like, they have so many different kinds, and I want one that kind of would blend in. So I want a retro Bluetooth speaker.
Right. Yeah.
And, okay, so I didn't know how small this was going to be. But look!
Oh, that is cool looking. Yeah.
Wait. It gets better.
So I didn't realize this was real. It's an actual fucking radio.
Okay, that is awesome.
Can I only get one station? Yes, I can. But it's a good station. No, I actually can't. It depends on where I'm standing too. I forgot that about radio. It depends where you're standing sometimes for how good.
And then it also goes to Bluetooth.
It can also be Bluetooth.
Oh, nice.
And it's got really cool, like the volume's really good on it. It's got a little like wrist thingy, I'm guessing. Ray said there's like an auxiliary jack.
There is an auxiliary as well.
Which I don't know what that means, but and then you can plug it in and charge it up. We haven't had to charge it up yet.
No, but we probably should too.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah. So it was for me while I was doing the dishes to like listen to my books.
Yeah. Now, like I don't know if you can see, like the quality of it is actually really
walnut.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool? It's teeny tiny, but I love it. So yeah, it's really cool. Now the next thing we have to get is a cassette player because somebody we'll tell you about it.
Okay. Well, that being said, Ray, do you want to go next?
Sure. What did I have on my list?
All right, bud. Let's see here. Gotta get back into my phone. All right. So, Ray, you had start work on your shop.
Yeah.
let's see. Rainy day painting, question mark.
Hasn't been any rainy days, really.
Okay. I'm not sure what that was. That's why I put a question mark. And pictures at Universal for paintings.
Okay, yeah, we did that too, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
we've gone to Universal since our last catch-up show.
Yeah.
Because that was April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pictures have been taken.
Yeah, lots.
For while we were in Universal as well as down in the forest. That was pretty cool. Congaree Forest. Congaree, whatever. So that was pretty cool. So we got the pictures. Just haven't done anything with them yet. The rainy day painting, we haven't had a lot of rainy days. We actually went through quite a spell.
Yeah, big dry spell.
And to the, if anybody's paying attention to the news, there was
Canada's on fire.
Yeah, and bad.
Literal fire.
But we've had rain the last 2 days, but I'm at work, so can't really do a rainy day painting when you're at work.
No.
Yeah.
So haven't been able to do that. But the shop is well underway. So I was able to purchase a temporary shed that's like a tarp with a metal frame around it. Metal frame with tarp around it. That has been built and attached to the driveway. I bolted it
it to our driveway.
I want to make sure she wasn't going anywhere. And then we've done a couple of dump runs, got rid of some chemical waste from the old places, old paint cans, all that kind of stuff. And so everything's starting to get out of the shop. The shop's probably at the point now that I can start pulling stuff out of areas and start setting up. I want to do a bunch of French cleats on the wall. And making that use of those, and that's going to be my storage. My storage system is going to be through the French cleats. So I've seen so many really great walls based off that. So so I'm going to be starting that process probably this week or next. So
nice.
Yeah, it looks really great in there.
It's coming.
From before, I'm comparing it to what it was like before. It looks amazing.
You couldn't walk in before.
No, and he's done so much work, and this has really put. We joke that he's got ADHD, and I'm halfway between ADHD and autistic. We're still trying to figure me out. But for him, what we figured out is that, and he's figured out, is that everything, if it out of sight, out of mind. So everything's got to be visible. And what's happened in the shop is that things have just gone missing because they get set down and something gets put on top of them, cease to exist. Also, the state of what the shop was very overwhelming for him. And he just basically wanted to light the whole thing on fire and start from scratch.
Well, and part of it too is that we don't have proper waste storage. So
like an
actual garbage bin area. There's a garbage bin, but it's not really. Anyway, so the shop was starting to be taken over by other things that need to be stored and
outside of the
shop that as well as like waste that need to be stored and all these other things. So
it was just piling up, and it was very frustrating for Ray. Walking in the shop was very, very overwhelming. So just even him starting this process of pulling things out was huge.
High stress.
Very high stress for him, very overwhelming. So, because it's all just so overstimulating. So for him, I was very proud of him that he was like, he put his Bluetooth headphones, earbuds in, turned on a podcast or whatever you were listening to, and just like looked down and went for it. And it was like 2 solid weekends of him just like really being brutally thorough with everything.
It's hard to throw some of that shit out.
Some of it was like, because he's been, I think this is like a maker's kind of glitch where you're like, I'm going to use this. I don't know for what for, but I got to keep it because I'm going to use it. It's like
so you're getting that completely honestly, both from the maker side, but also from the dad side. Like, I can't tell you how many, like I've literally seen TikToks. It's like, see this piece of board? I've been holding on to this for 6 years.
Yeah.
And guess what? I just used it. And it's like, dude.
Today's the day.
Today was the day.
I told you I was going to use it. But it gets to a point where you're like, okay, I'm actually keeping it is stressing me out.
Yeah.
So it's got to go. So he's been wonderful with that, really being honest with like, okay, I know I had original intentions with this, but actually keeping it is making this a stressful experience. So it's got to go. And if you actually really wanted to make it, we'll buy it. We'll buy what you need to make it later on. So instead of keeping that constant reminder of things you're not doing in your face all the time, just clean slate, start from scratch.
Yep.
So he's been really, I know that's a huge obstacle for him to go through. And I'm proud that and I've stayed away. That's also helped.
Good on you, man.
I haven't helped at all. It's been great for him. I want to, but me not helping's been like the best thing.
That's a good thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anything
Now,
else?
Well, I was gonna say now somebody went on a shopping spree.
It was barely. It could have been worse.
It could have been way worse. So I was like, fuck it. I see something that's creative and interesting that I'd really like to do. And why the hell not do what I want and get this? Because I thought it was really cool. Foo Fighters released a new album. And I got it on cassette.
Oh my God.
Because that's what you got to do sometimes.
Sure, I guess.
I think it would just be a really fun collectible. That's what it is for me. Is it's more of a collectible to see the Foo Fighters live one day again sometime, and more if I can get their signature.
Yeah.
Yes. Now that would be fantastic.
Yeah. So, and then we're gonna throw an extra one in here that there's somebody else in our house that's very creative that's actually wanting to share their creativity.
Well, no, I asked her if I could show this to her.
Right, but that's
twice.
So
it's Logan. She's an incredible illustrator. I'll say that. And so this is for
Hi.
This is for her parenting project.
So it's I have to make a magazine about like lifestyle and stuff. And one of the things that I could do is do a little comic strip about like the challenges of parenting. So this happens
better than I've ever done.
This happens quite often. I'll be listening to something and then I hear my
yell.
Or it's Dad, and then I'm like, yeah, and then
then
response.
Nothing. Then crickets.
And then okay, and then I listen to my music or whatever again, and then I can like feel somebody or like
a presence.
Somebody is there and talking to me. Then I look, and it's one of them.
But she's totally tuned us out because she's got her AirPods in.
Yeah, they're nice candy.
Anyway, I was just super proud. I think it's an amazing comic strip, and it's hilarious because it's true.
Oh yeah. Nicely
Yeah.
done. I trying to do trying to sketch humans in any shape, form, or fashion, like even like as in a comic type. I've never been able to do it. It's always been one of those things. It's like, it'd be really cool is if we could have like a cartoon version of all of our avatars to have on the site. That'd be awesome. Gotta find someone to do it because I can't. So but
without spoiling anything, it's something that has been on my to-do list for a very long time.
Years.
I have been like, it's still in the back of my head. So I will get that done. Eventually, one of these times on this particular show, that'll be my thing, and I will send it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But she's always been drawing since she was like 3 years old, and she's just the progression over the years because she loves it. This is like her decompression, her like way to deal with things, and she's just so good at it.
Yeah, keep doing it because I used to sketch a little bit here and there. Nothing like I said, but I used to sketch here and there a long time ago, and I stopped doing it, and now it's gone. It's not coming back. I'm like, all right, let me figure out some other way I can get this thought out of my brain.
So, it's awesome. She can do it for hours. It's again because she's got that on. She's zoned in, and it's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. This time I was listening about drama with my old favorite YouTuber.
Okay.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
It's a long.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Ben.
Not for this show.
No.
Thank you for sharing, Logan. All right. So what I've been up to, those dang side projects just keep swerving into the way. Let me tell you. Okay. So I had continued proton pack work. I did continue on with that.
Good.
Let's see, paint, toy stand, and death whistle. I actually got both. Well, I kind of got both of those done. We'll talk about those in a second. Get the pool ready, and then I had to throw on the extra one. All right. So the first thing, yes, I actually have made a lot of headway with my proton pack. I got all the electronics set up. I've got everything figured out. I got the pop mechanic figured out. Everything's great.
Nice.
In fact, I have it sitting here. No, where'd it go? It's around here somewhere. Anyway, the next step is to sand everything down and then get it painted. And that's where my problem's running into, because I hate sanding. I hate sanding with a passion. And I keep trying to remind myself, look, you purposely printed this in PET G. You purposely printed this in a filament that sands much better than the other one does.
Yep.
So hopefully this is not going to be as bad. Like just try to keep your head up about it and sit down and get it done. So I'm hoping maybe one day next week, I can sit down and get that. I can get that done. So, and then once I do that, it's literally putting it together, and it should kind of fly pretty quickly after that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's just, I've hit this roadblock, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I know it needs to be done. Because what sucks is I'm at the exact same point with another project, which I'll talk about in a second. The second thing I had on there, paint, toy stand, and death whistle. Yes, I got the death whistle painted. It's up and running. Good, looks good. Ready to go.
Is it there? Can we see?
Yeah, I could grab it real quick if you want me to. All right, hold on.
His death whistle that you painted.
Ooh, yes, please.
So for those listening, he has stepped away. He's gone off to the corner of his office, looking through, finding it. No idea where he is.
He's off camera. He's just going to find his.
We appreciate you continuing to listen while we wait for Eugene to find the death whistle.
I feel like we should put in some slow jazz
Ooh,
music.
You like jazz?
I like jazz.
And he's
talking to himself.
He's wearing a Star Wars shirt too.
Yes.
So he's got a lovely.
Sorry, I should have had things a little better organized. Okay, so anyway. All right, so here's the death whistle.
Put some filler in. It's fine.
It's a little darker than the first one that I did, but it did turn out fairly well.
Very cool.
And yes, it does sound absolutely horrible like the first one. So, I did learn doing this one from the first set that I did. The first ones I had too low to the print bed, and so the support material really roughed up the back of it. And so on this one, I didn't have to do that much sanding, and what little bit is left there, probably can't really see it. It actually kind of plays into it. So I think it worked well. So yeah, I got my death whistle ready. The second thing that I had to paint was, so this is the stand that I designed and 3D printed for my selfie series Ghostbuster character that I had done from Hasbro, and it's got the Ghostbusters logo on it.
Yep.
And I was going to paint it and do the logo and do the red and the white. The problem is I didn't like how the brush strokes were coming off on it. And so I'm like, okay, let me see if maybe I can airbrush it. So I'll mask it off and then I'll airbrush it and it'll look fine. And in the process of trying to do this, even though there are little grooves in it that I should have been able to use to, take a blade and it was not happening. It was taking forever. And then when you start getting into where the fingers are, because there's not many fingers, there's 3 fingers, but I'm like, I don't like the way this is coming out. I don't like how the cutting on this is going. So I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. It's just going to be solid black. The thought I've had afterwards is I don't have a vinyl cutter. My mom does. And I don't know if she's played with it enough to be able to do what I'd want it to do. But I was like, this is a standard file. This is a standard Ghostbusters logo. I was like, I wonder if maybe, if I could give her a file, it's just getting it to scale correctly. If I could get it to scale correctly, I would be perfectly happy with her cutting out red and white vinyl and just sticking it to it and doing the logo that way.
Like a Cricut?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you were gonna say something, Ray?
What's the base of the paint? Like, what's it made of?
Let's see. Did I paint this? Yeah, I think this is just a.
No, the paint itself. What's the base of the paint? Well, like water, oil.
I'm pretty sure it's a water based.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Have you thought of this?
What is that? Masking fluid?
Yeah.
Nope. Hadn't thought about that, but maybe that might be worth a shot.
It just paints on, like, take a shitty paintbrush that you don't really use, paints it into the areas that you want to cover up, and it works. And then it just rubs right off. Like you just take your finger to it. That one's congealed.
That might not be a bad idea, because I mean I've heard of it before. I've just never thought about using it in this respect, because I've seen like a lot of people have started doing going an extra step when they're and so instead of like, well, here's a perfectly good example. So like my original ghost trap. So originally this thing was solid black, and then I've gone back into it with, and dry brushed silver on it to give it that worn look.
Yep.
Some people have started taking the step to do it. They're painting it silver first, and then using either masking fluid, or in some cases mustard. I've seen people use a couple other things, and then you blotch it on, and then when you put the paint on it, and then it peels right off, or it rubs right off, and then it looks like you actually have that slight little dip in where it looks like not only is it's looked like the paint has actually chipped out.
Yeah.
So but no, I hadn't thought about that. That's not a bad idea. So I might look into that.
I use it for a lot of my watercolors, like where you need the paper area to stay white. I've covered up those areas, and then done my entire background and got a lot of the base colors down, and then I would go back and erase, like get that filler or the shit get the shit off of the paper.
Right. Yeah.
It literally just rubs right off, and then all of that's exposed again. So
that's not a bad idea. Dang it! Now you may be putting this back on my to-do list. But yeah, I like I said, I was like, well, I started working on that. I was like, you know what, this isn't worth my headache. So my main thing is if I know, like, I know what size the file would be. Like if I could give her the file and be like, hey, here's the white part of the ghost. I need you to print these out, and here's the file. And if you could, I don't know when she imports it into, that software, if she has to scale it, if it will automatically take it and put it to the correct scale. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know that stuff.
The other thing too for me is all I can picture is trying to get the sticker on a Lego.
Yeah.
Off enough. I'm like,
yeah, that could also be an issue, but
yeah, that's all I was, especially the little fingers. It's like,
yeah. So no, that's not a bad idea about the fluid. I didn't think about that. It didn't even cross my mind. So I may have to look into that. So
yeah.
Let's see here. What else was on my to-do list? The other one was, let's see, paint. Get the pool ready. That was a nightmare. So we've had this pool since 2020. We got the pool. We get it in 2020 or we get it in 2021? Maybe we got it in 2021.
I thought it was 2021, but
it's 2021. Being in Texas, it doesn't freeze that much, except for when we did have the super freeze for 2 weeks and freaking lost a tree because of it. But anyway, so we do shut down the pool for several months because it is, even if it's not freezing, it's still too cool to be out there to swim. So save a little money, buy the electricity and everything else.
Yeah.
And so we shut down the pool. Well, in previous years, pull the tarp back. Looks great. Just add more water to it, get the chemicals going, should be good to go. This year I pulled the tarp back, and I don't know if it was just because it was a cheap tarp or what, but it is a dark green. And I'm just like, oh God, am I gonna have to drain this pool and scrub it and all this other stuff?
Yeah.
and looking online, you know, with other people who have above ground pools, and they're just like, no, that's just a thing. So go get this basically super powered chlorine, and just throw it in there and just keep running the filter.
Yep.
And sure enough, that was the thing. The thing that we ran into that was the biggest problem was we had bought this little device off of Amazon that you could get a pool sample and put it on there, and it should tell you what the pH and the alkalinity is. And it kept telling me it was a little high, but it wasn't that bad. And so I was like, well, it's still cloudy. I don't know what's going on. So I take a couple of the stuff to Leslie's pools here, and they run it, and they're just like, oh yeah, it's way high. So this little thing was giving me really bad ratings. So I ended up throwing the little thing away. So anyway, we finally got the levels down where they are. But the problem is we now have a couple of the rails, the top rails have started to rust. And Christy asked about it. She's ordered some replacement parts, but she's like, why would it do that? And they're like, well, if your alkalinity was really high, that will cause that. Well, I guess it was always high. It just wasn't showing like we thought it was. So now we've got a better handle on that. Pool's ready. Actually used it several times. But yeah, that was kind of a nightmare going through because just trying to get it to clear up. And then once it did clear up, it really wasn't that dirty inside, thank God. It's just getting it to clear up. Because when you look at it, you're like, I will never touch this water. And then this has got to be absolutely gross. And you're just like, no, actually it's just a little bit of algae. Like once you get it cleaned up, it's fine. So but yeah, so that's that. I was dealing with that on and off for the last couple of weeks, trying to get that all up and running. So, the other project that I've been working on is something, like I said, kind of a side project. So, we did the Vigo. We got the Vigo thing set up. That looks really awesome at our booth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of, I want to say it's Circle City Ghostbusters posted just a picture. It's a single picture, not a video or anything, from one of their conventions, and it is a Roomba with several little mini puffs on it. And I thought, that's genius.
Mhm.
So I reached out to him. I said, hey, number one, fantastic idea. Number two, I'm totally stealing this. Number three, is it just a Roomba, or did y'all gut it and put like an RC car in it or something? Because I was like, I could see it being interesting having it just, come out and, do the Roomba thing where it kind of goes around, bumps into stuff or whatever. That would have been super easy because I would have just kind of taken part of the Roomba, added some magnets, put some little mini puffs on it, and been good to go. And the guy's like, no, we gutted it and put an RC car in it. And so we can drive it around and have it go where we want. I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds like that'd be a better idea. So I asked my group, I was like, hey, does anyone have a Roomba that they want to give up? And sure enough, one of our group members, Bev's like, I've got 3 of them, and 2 of them I bought like years ago for like $20. She's like, so I will totally, donate one of these to the group.
Yeah.
So I take it and I start cutting it apart. And so one of the other group members had the idea. He's like, what if we got a remote control tank instead? Because then it would do the whole go, turn, like a tank and like an actual Roomba does.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not a bad idea. So I bought a remote control tank and I bought a remote control car, and I got the shell of it kind of sitting on top of this tank, and it would have kind of worked, but it was really noisy. It wasn't, Roombas aren't fast by any means anyway, but it just didn't seem like it was going to do exactly what I wanted it to do. So I was going to have to gut it even more to be able to accommodate this RC car, but I ended up doing that, and I put the RC car on it. And even on the lowest setting, this thing jets. This thing moves, especially compared for what a Roomba is. Now, so I'm working on this on and off while I'm still on contract at work or whatever. And so I'd go out and, it's a completely empty hallway, at this school, and I cranked it up, and it goes down, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so awesome.
That's cool.
And it got me to thinking. So I'm just like, okay, well, I've got this RC car and I've got this. I was like, what if I put all this together with magnets and I make it so that this thing will come off? Because then, even though it wouldn't be screen accurate because it would be too small, what if I made this thing do double duty, and I designed a ghost trap to also fit on this thing with magnets, and then this thing could also be our miniature RTV. And I was like, yeah, this absolutely. This is what I'm going to do. So at this point, I've actually got it sitting down here next to me. I've got the Roomba is gutted. It was in service, like it actually lived its life as an actual working Roomba. So it's got some scuffs and stuff on it. And I need to just kind of sand it out a little bit. I want to get some of the scuffs out. And I've decided we played with the idea of maybe painting it and giving it kind of an ecto look, which I thought was, kind of crossed my mind. And some of the other members were like, oh yeah, what if you did, red and white or whatever? I was like, that would be kind of cool. I've decided I am going to go with black just because the mini puffs that are going to write on it are white, and I'm afraid they would kind of get lost with the white on the Roomba as well. I have decided I am going to go with the main base of the Roomba. I'm going to do a shinier black, and then like for the bumpers and stuff, I'll do more of a flat black. So at least there will be kind of a two-tone to it and make it look a little more industrial. But I've got to do some sanding on that. The other thing I have to do the sanding on, let's see if I can find one. Yeah, there we go. Is I found one of the San Antonio guys is trying to work on the same project. We found these files online for little mini puffs, and so I've 3D printed out little mini puffs. And then I went back in and altered the file and added places for magnets.
Yep.
So I've got to get these guys kind of sanded down. Now I am thinking if you look at the Hasbro mini puffs, there is a texture because they're supposed to be marshmallow. So I'm going to give it a sanding, and I'm hoping I don't have to sand down too much because I'm going to use either a textured paint or truck bed liner.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And spray it on there to kind of give it a little bit of a texture. Yep. And then when I hit it, that should hopefully hide quite a bit of the print lines that are on this thing. But yeah, there's two of them. There's like one that's sitting down that's waving. There's one that's sitting down, like sticking out his tongue. There's one that's just standing. There's one that's like reaching up, like, pick me up. There's one that's kind of balancing on one foot. And then there's two of them that are laying down. One of them is reaching down to help the other one, and the other one looks like he's falling off. And so actually I was kind of messing around with it before we started the show. Like I said, I'm doing magnets to hold the shell onto the thing as well. But then I'm also going to put these heavier duty magnets underneath the shell, and I'm going to magnet the little guys on so that number one, it's easy to store, but number two, they shouldn't fall off, and I can kind of reposition them if I want to. But yeah, and I've even gone so far as I checked out the voltage. This little RC car had lights on it, and so I've redone the lights on it, and the light bar that was either on front or on the top, I've put underneath where it says cleaning. It lights up on a Roomba where it says clean. I've actually got that to where that lights up. Nice. And then there's a little thing on the front that normally like senses the radar. I lit that up with the other one, but I'm just like, when I do the ghost trap, I've got more than enough lights. I will definitely, the RTV actually has two flashlights on the front. I'll be able to light those up. I'll be able to light up the bar graph here if I wanted to. I could probably even light this thing up if I wanted to.
Awesome.
So it'll actually light up. Now it won't open up, but I mean, if it's running around, people are just gonna go, "Oh, hey, cool! It's the remote trap thing." So
especially if you have some smoke coming out of it and it smells like marshmallows.
No, I won't be able to get that far. Although I was thinking, like sometimes I hate when this happens, especially this time of year when I was still on contract. I have to get up at 7. Get up at 7, 6:30. In some cases, I'll have to get up even earlier. And you get up and go to the bathroom at 5:30, and your brain just will not shut off. And I was like, well, I think it was like 6.5, almost 7 volts that was coming out of this thing. That's more than enough to power an Arduino. And then I was just like, no, shut up, go to sleep. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. But who knows if I end up going back, who knows? This may not be the final version of the RTV. I may end up going back and doing a second shell and actually having it so that maybe it smokes or something. So we'll see. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on.
That's awesome.
Which I was going to ask, are any of the the mini puffs toasted at all? Because I think the right texture would be fucking amazing.
Okay, so do I have one around here that I can easily grab? Anyway, so there were 2 different versions. Actually, hold on.
And he's
So
up
for those
again.
listening, he has scooted away and not paying attention to us.
Now
and
he's
now he's
back.
coming back. And
So Hasbro originally released a pack. It's 3 bodies and 6 heads of the mini puffs.
Mhm.
But then when they did the Spengler pack, the big promotion thing that they did, they released they also came with an additional. It's the same exact shape, molds or whatever, but instead these little guys are burnt.
There you go.
And I think I was thinking about when I do that. Number one, it would help hide the crimes. But yeah, I mean that's literally just kind of an orangish yellow
Mhm.
on the outside, and then you do a blackish brown on top of it, and it would add a lot to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So-
what I was gonna say is the right texture. So if you're putting the truck bed liner in there, that's that bubbly style. You get that on the marshmallow when you toast it too long.
That's not a bad idea either. So, but yeah, I was halfway thinking about toasting them, just because it's more visually appealing to see them kind of toasted, and some of them I toast a little more than others, and
Oh yeah.
Especially the one falling off. That one's got to be
yeah. So there was one model I didn't use, and it was he was given the bird, and I was just like, even though it's a little bitty, I don't really want to have to deal with that while I'm at a con. So
Yeah.
no, I don't need any kids going, "Mommy, look, the little guys, waving to me," and be like, "Oh, no, don't look at that one." So
There's a thing at Canadian Tire.
Oh, I was just gonna say that.
It's like a hot seller right now. Is it a chipmunk?
It's a squirrel.
It's a squirrel.
mhm.
And it's
There's a sign
The
that
sign says "Go away." And then the
Nice.
squirrel took me off. I'm like,
In the middle of Canadian Tire, which is a huge
I will see if I can find it.
like a hardware department store, landscaping store.
Fun.
Yeah.
Well, so there's one other project that I just want, and I actually just thought about it. I've been working on and off on it this week. It's something I have not had to do in quite a while. So my group, the Austin Ghostbusters, partners with, we've worked with several different charities, but our ongoing running charity that we work with is a group called Girl Start. They're originally out of Austin. They've actually moved to a couple of different cities in Texas, but the whole deal is to get girls into STEM and STEAM activities, which is a perfect partnership for us because we do so much stuff with building our proton packs and all of our equipment and everything else. So anyway, we've been partnered with them for over a year now, probably about a year and a half. And we went to an event the other day and I actually drove by their actual building, and I just thought about it. I was like, I wonder if they would want us to actually come by and do something, like maybe, do a demonstration or, something or another. And so they reached out, sure enough, and they're like, "Hey, we're doing we're doing classes or whatever this summer, and we would love it if y'all wouldn't mind coming by and talking about how y'all use 3D printing in props."
Oh, there you go.
Awesome.
Well, that's right up my alley.
Yeah.
So I've been working on a presentation, and next
That's
Nice.
cool.
Wednesday, I'm going to be suited up and taking some of the equipment and giving a presentation. And
Awesome.
I want to make sure I'm trying to make sure I'm not going to talk over their heads. I'm also trying to make sure I'm not talking below them. So I'm like, who are we looking at? They're like, well, it's probably about 35 girls, 4th to 5th grade. So I'm like, okay, kind of figure out roughly what, and what level I'm shooting for or whatever. So, and I think I've got a decent presentation. I was telling Christy, I was like, I halfway thought about running it by the boys because they'd be the right age level. I said, the only thing is though, is they'd constantly be like, all right, Dad, how much longer is this? How much longer is this? Because they're ready to get back to their stuff. I'm like, whereas I'm going to be dealing with girls who want to be there, like who are excited. So, it's going to be a different. So I'm just like, you know what? We'll go with it. Like, I used to teach 8th graders, it's 4th and 5th, I know that roughly that age level. So we'll see. So I'm not going too hardcore, but I'm also trying to make it, interesting and not, not, this is how you 3D print it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't patronize kids. Like that's the first thing to get them to be like, nope, not listening to you, old dude.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's something that's coming up, and I'm kind of excited.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. All right, let's move on to what we're going to be working on next. Unless there was something in particular you kind of wanted to talk about. I just wanted to kind of bring up something that I've been running into. So I made a deal with myself. I guess you'd call it a deal. Maybe it's a punishment. there are several new video games that are out.
Yes.
And I'm seeing a lot of information online about the one. And then I'm in a Facebook group with some friends about the other one. And I made a deal with myself that I was not going to buy either one of these games until I finished certain projects, because I just know if I got either one of these games, it would eat my life and I wouldn't get stuff done. So I was like, I'm not going to buy either one of these games until I get there. But do you ever feel like if you make a deal or something like that, like FOMO is not a thing for me normally. I know it's a big thing with Jennifer. And then what's funny is that I cannot find it, but it was the opposite of FOMO. It was something like the enjoyment of missing out. And it was just like, yes, I prefer to sit home with a book and be like, sure, y'all go have fun, go live your best life. I'm going to sit here and do this and be perfectly happy. And normally that's me. Normally I'm like, yes, I do like to go to conventions and do stuff or whatever. But like I really want to get these projects done because I know it's going to be a lot of fun and it's going to open up a lot more possibility for me, because I'll be able to start working on other projects that I've promised myself I was not going to start until I get these done. But I keep seeing this stuff, and there's a little part of me that keeps thinking, well, by the time I get around to doing this, like, is it going to be like, I'm not really worried about trying to do it at the same time as everyone else. It's just weird that, like, especially one of them is the Legend of Zelda. It's the new Legend of Zelda, the Tears of the Kingdom, that's come out. And now, granted, what's funny is all of the video that I see has nothing to do with the storyline. No one has given up anything about the storyline. In this game, you have the ability to build things, and that's what people are doing, which is fascinating to me, because I'm like, it's a Zelda game. What is going on here? Like, at first I thought it was a fluke, but everyone and their brother's doing it. And they keep getting more and more creative with some of the stuff. They're like, well, I totally just built a flying death machine that I can like wipe everything out with. But yeah, there's a little part of me that's like, are you doing this for your benefit, or are you literally just punishing yourself? And have y'all run into that before? Have you done that to yourself before? Ray's shaking his head yes.
I know I have before. It's like, no, I gotta do this, whatever. Like, I'm trying to think back of when it was actually, but I do remember a time where I've done something like that, where I'm withholding myself from buying or doing something until a certain thing is done, and I don't do it anymore. Because I'll get to whatever I get to, and like
is there like a level of resentment that starts building?
There can be. It's like, now, like, fuck, like, I'm not enjoying what I was by building this or completing this project, because my mind is on this other thing now, and I just fucking, so I may even rush to get this done just so it's done, and enjoy a little bit of that and be like, okay, I got a little taste of that. Now I'll go back to this. So
I do that with my day. Like, I know that if I crochet, or if I write, or if any kind of activity like that, I have to get everything done in the morning first. Like, whatever I need, like errands or chores that I have to get done before I sit down and do the thing. So once I sit down and do the thing, that's I'm done. Game over. Like, that's it. I'm not getting anything done. So I have had to set myself up like, okay, I do want to do this today. However, this needs to get done first. But I'm really bad for rebelling against my own rules. So like, I can't do that anymore either, because I'll just make myself miserable doing that.
We say sometimes it's daytime Kris is pissed off at nighttime Kris because nighttime Kris didn't do this.
Yep.
Daytime Kris and nighttime Kris are two different people. And don't like each other. So sometimes they get petty.
I think we've had that conversation before. I mean, I used to write notes to myself and was just like, thanks, past Eugene, or so.
Yeah. I think it all depends on like how rigid you're being. Because if you're being super rigid, then that you're bleeding into punishment. But if it's just like this goal or achievement you kind of want to do, then you can sort of, that's more of a, like an encouragement than.
I was going to say, keep it realistic. Don't be like, okay, like I have to resolder everything, this, that, the other. Like,
oh yeah, like it's not. Yeah, it's
But
like I said. So for me, it's finishing my proton pack. Like I said, I'm not going. But and the reason why I've set that self up for myself is because I've been working on and off on this thing for probably over a year now, and it's just like, no, get it done.
Oh yeah, because now you just want it so you can stop thinking about it.
Exactly, because it's actually holding me back from being able to do other projects. Like I'm like,
that's different.
I need to get this done, then I can start focusing on other things. And even if I were to take a break, even if I'm like, all right, I'm done with this, now I'm going to devote my time to playing this game or doing whatever.
So
I'm okay with that. It's not like I've got a time schedule, but it's just like I want to get this done to get it done because I'm tired. I'm tired of past Eugene like, well, not today. Today's not the right day to work on this.
Yeah.
So for Tears of the Kingdom, what I'll say there is it's a massive map, and by the time you get to actually going around, all of the fun stuff will be, you're not going to miss out. You're still going to have that fun. You're still going to be able to look that up and do what you want with it. With Diablo 4, because I know that's the other one that we've talked about, what I'll say there is you're not going to miss out a lot because they've been changing the game so much from day to week to whatever.
And that's what I keep seeing. I'm just like, maybe it's a good thing that I'm holding.
I'd say it's probably a good thing for that one. I played it once, and I haven't picked it up since because I just haven't had time. But that being said, all I see online are people saying, "Oh, they friggin' nerfed this, and I had this, I was doing this, and now I can't do anything with this character." And it's like, okay, I'll wait maybe a little bit more for that one just to let it figure itself out. But it's going to be a blast as well, and it's a massive map as well. So a lot of time will be dedicated in the next year with both of those games, I'm sure. But again, Breath of the Wild was such a great game. It took me a long time to want to finish it because I was having fun. And then Tears of the Kingdom is going to be similar, where I'll get a bunch of stuff done, but I don't want to finish it. So
nice. Yeah, like I said, those are the two things that kind of kept coming in. And like I said, the one was like, well, people aren't even that interested in trying to complete the game. Like I'm not worried about people revealing like all the bosses and this, that, and the other. And then the other game, everyone's like, well, this changed and this happened and couldn't even get in for this. And I'm just like, maybe I made the right decision, or at least, I'm going to hold off a little bit, and then it's going to be a coin flip. It's going to be like, all right, so which one do I buy? On one hand, I can hang out with y'all and hang out with my friends, and that'll be a lot of fun. Whereas Zelda's going to be a solitary trip thing. And the nice thing about that is I don't have to schedule a time to play. I can just jump on and do it. So, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring that up because, like I said, that is something that has kind of been in the back of my. And like I said, I'm not normally a big FOMO person, but that was one of those things that's just kind of like everyone's talking about these things. So
the same thing happens on Book Grab. And there's this one book that's been just circulating really heavy. It's called The Fourth Wing. And I'm just like, you don't need to read it. You have 80 books that you need to read. Don't get it. Don't get it. Don't get it. I'm going to get it, but I'm not going to read it. That's the thing. I'm going to read it. But that's the thing. It's like these new like shiny toys. I'm like, oh, I want to read that. I want to read that. I should read that. I have like a huge to be read pile that I keep adding to. I'll read them all eventually. But yeah, like that's the shiny thing right now. It's like, oh, they just got dragons.
See, the reason I do have a push to get the Roomba done is because and that was something I was going to tell y'all. So anyway, next weekend is Greater Austin Comic Con, so I want to have it done and ready.
Yeah, that's a good goal.
Yeah,
that's a good goal. I'm pretty sure now that I'm off contract, I can get that done before then. But like Saturday, this is something that we have talked about doing for years, quite literally. And it's something that the Austin Ghostbusters used to do before I even joined. So one of our members, Martin, unfortunately, he's moved on. He actually moved to Hawaii with his family.
Oh, wow.
He was a good guy. He always contributed and always had really good thoughts and input on like making props and stuff. Well, he was always pushing that we had like a group get together, just not an event, just to hang out and have dinner or something. And we actually managed to get 2 of those done. And they were really nice to just get together and have dinner with the rest of the group and chat about whatever we want to chat. Well, Saturday is our first build day. So one of our members, Bev, has volunteered her house. Oh my God. I'm going to take pictures of the inside of her house and I'm going to send it to y'all. Bev's house is it's what every geek would love to have if they didn't have, and she doesn't have a significant other to tell her no, but it's what everyone would want. She has a massive collection of Ghostbuster stuff. She loves Harley Quinn, so she has some awesome Harley Quinn stuff. She's a huge fan of the Iron Giant, so she has some cool Iron Giant stuff, and it's just her house is just fantastic. Anyway, she's volunteered her house, and we're going to do a build day. So we're going to show up. We told everyone, hey, you don't have to be there the whole time. You don't have to get there at the same time or whatever. But from 10 to 6, we're going to build stuff.
Awesome.
And anyone who has a PKE meter, so like I sell parts to upgrade the PKE meter, I'm like, hey, actually I need to send that thing out. This would be a perfect time because a lot of people don't have soldering skills, and I've offered my skills for soldering to help take it apart and make the changes that need to be made and kind of work on stuff. So we're going to be doing that. And the other day when I was doing yard work, I was like, I have not smoked a brisket in a while. So I'm actually smoking a brisket tomorrow, and I'm going to take part of it to the event. And we're going to have like, kind of a potluck type thing kind of. So it's going to be fun.
Are you bringing cheese curds and gravy with fries for the brisket?
No, but I'm leaving some of it home, so that may have to happen afterwards. Okay. Try out your idea. But anyway, so yeah, that's going on. So I'm excited about that here in the next 2 days, and then like I said, I've got an event in about a week and a half, and I hope to have the thing done. So I may have to go back and the more I'm thinking about it, I may have to increase the magnets that are holding on the shell. It stays on pretty well, but if it bumps into something, it may kind of jostle it. And I may have to just kind of go mess with it. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun. Like, if a convention were to slow down, we could have a couple of our guys go chase a runaway Roomba with some mini puffs on it. So yeah. All right, so let's move on to what we'd like to work on for next time. Would anyone like to go first? I've already got my stuff laid out. If you want me to go first,
sure.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to finish the proton pack. I am going to get it done in the next 2 weeks, or in the next 2 months. I'm off contract. I've got almost a month off. I should be able to get this project and that one done, hopefully. So, plus, like I said, I really want to play some of these games. Paint the hallway. Originally, I thought that was happening today, but I guess not. That may happen next week. We have this little hallway. Like, we've repainted most of our house to a gray color. The only 2 rooms that aren't painted are our bedroom and this office. This office is still blue, but there's a little hallway that's a slightly different color gray from everything else. And it was just overlooked when we had the guy come out and paint it. It's going to take me an afternoon. It's not like a big project, but I'm just like, yeah, we need to get that knocked out. Finish the Roomba. I will 100% have the Roomba finished because, like I said, I really want to get it done in a week and a half here before this convention. And then I also put on there, start the RTV. I'm hoping I can maybe get the entire RTV built because I've already got the electronics figured out. I'm literally just I'll literally just have to figure out how to take the files for this, because pretty much all the files are out there, and scale it down a little bit so that it will fit on that remote control chassis. So shouldn't be hard. I just got to get it done.
Yeah.
So that's on my to-do list. Ray?
Shop.
Well, yeah, it's all going to be shop based.
And then we can go on.
You want me to just put out work on shop and leave it open?
No, because There's July, so there's June, July, August. So August is when we're going to be doing that.
Yeah, middle of
Mhm.
August.
So the other thing I'm going to put on there is Quinn's shelves in his room.
Yeah.
So those will be my two major things. So I have to have the shop in a working enough order to kind of complete some shelving
Yeah. 'cause
Okay.
That's really the only thing that's left
for Quinn's room. Yeah.
for Quinn's room.
Good deal.
Yeah. So that'll be it.
Cool. Kris.
So the parts I need to do for Quinn's room, I want to have done. He's going to camp at the last week of July. He's gone for a whole week. So it's like the perfect time to just sort of take over his room and get it all finished up. And he's so wonderful. He just doesn't give a shit. So this was my idea. Didn't care. So I bet I should finish it. So I'd like to get that done. And then my story, I would like to be, I want to say halfway through the edits. That might be a bit ambitious, but I want to at least be at like double-digit chapter level for edits for the second draft. I think I'd like to do that. And then there's a patch of garden behind our garage that's like perpetual shade, so nothing really grows there. So I've been using it as a compost heap. But what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do with Quinn's help, is just put a bunch of black top soil over top of it, and he bought me some like native plant seeds that are for shade. So I want to plant those. We're thinking about having a housewarming party. We've only been living here for 3 years, but COVID. So we were thinking of having it at the end of August. So that gives us a time to sort of like polish up little itty bitty projects.
Eugene, you're more than welcome to come up.
Yes, we are going to invite you. We know that you can't come, but it's just like we're thinking of you. We would love you to come, kind of thing.
God, I would love to. You have no idea how much
I know.
I would love to do that.
Yeah. So I would like to get that patch done, at least with the soil. At the bare minimum, get the soil. If I get the seeds planted, that's great too. But it does need, and so I need to set up kind of like a homemade food digester system that I have with some plastic black garbage cans I actually need to set up. Yeah. So I don't put any, it's just like veggie scraps and fruit scraps and
just needs to drain.
Yeah, it needs some drainage and stuff like that. But so that's what I would like to do. And Quinn's gonna help me because he's my little gardening helper, whether he likes it or not.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty then. That is our show for the month, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Google, Stitcher, wherever it is you listen to the show. You can find us on YouTube as well for the video version at Epically Geeky. You can find all of the shows on epicallygeeky.com, including the marginally geeky, this is Creatively Geeky, Sustainably Geeky, and Epically Geeky shows. And then I am going to try to get a little better about posting stuff on social media. It's mainly just going to be posting when the shows are on. I've been pretty good about putting it on Facebook. Since I've been doing a lot of work with the Ghostbusters group, trying to get our social media out there, I've gotten the workflow a little better. So I'll at least be posting it on Instagram and Facebook. I don't care about Twitter. No one cares about Twitter. Like reporters care about Twitter. That's who cares about Twitter, is reporters, because that's how they talk to each other and pat each other on the back. Yes. And I've heard that from reporters that have told me that. So anyway, so you can check out all of our shows at epicallygeeky.com. One of the other things that we have recently added is we now have merch. So once again, the Austin Ghostbusters, we set up a merch store for a shirt. And as a result, I was like, it's only been how many years since we've started, we redid the show or redid the site and everything. Maybe we should have some merch. So if you wanted to have one of our logos on a shirt, we've got logos for all 4 shows on there. We also have a 5th shirt up there as well. Kris and Ray
cool.
Do what?
That's the old school shows.
Yes. if you want a I had to come up with a name for it, so I started calling it I Canada shirt. If you want one of those, which by the way, that's the one that Christy said she would probably buy. Anyway, if you want a shirt, you can find it at Epically Geeky and just click on the merch button and it'll take you to TeePublic where you can purchase. Actually, it's a shirt. It's a whatever you want. Like it's one of those print on demand sites. So if you want a magnet, a shirt, if you want a
mug,
computer case, a mug, you can get it all there.
Really good too.
Yeah. So
we have an addiction to travel mugs, so maybe we should.
See, I don't drink coffee or anything, and yet I still have so many. Like I've got Ghostbuster ones, I've got Star Wars ones. Like, yeah, I've got tons of mugs. I just don't ever use them. So, where can we find you online, Ray?
The Reluctant Yeti on Instagram when I'm not being cuddled by a kitty.
Chris?
On all the shows you mentioned and on Instagram at Moody Midlife.
And as always, you can follow my individual wacky adventure online at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For everyone on the site, have a good night.